Real English Lounge.
The art of everyday English.
Can I describe something and see if it sounds familiar?
Go ahead.
You are about to walk into a room full of people you don't know very well. Maybe a work event, maybe a party, maybe a networking thing. And before you even open the door, your heart is already going faster. Your mind is already rehearsing what you're going to say. And some part of you is quietly calculating whether there is still a way to leave.
That is very specific and very familiar.
Does that happen to you?
It used to happen to me a lot, and in a different way it still does, depending on the situation. The physical response never fully goes away, but what changes is what you do with it.
Which is what we're talking about today. Welcome to Real English Lounge. I'm Ethan.
I am Claire, and today we're talking about social anxiety, the nervousness, the racing heart, the rehearsed sentences that vanish the moment someone actually speaks to you, why it happens, and what actually helps.
Before we start, our usual challenge. If this podcast is helping your English, please subscribe on YouTube and leave a comment below.
Today's comment challenge: tell us one type of social situation that makes you nervous. One sentence in English in the comments. We read every single one and we reply to as many as we can.
Level check. This is B1 to B2. The conversation is honest and natural. Exactly the kind of English you need to talk about feelings, experiences, and the inside of your own head.
Later in the episode, we have the word tour. Today's words are anxiety, trigger, avoidance, self-conscious, reassurance, and exposure. 6 words that will help you talk about social nervousness with real precision.
Let's start. Claire, what kinds of social situations make you nervous?
The ones where the expectation is unclear, when I know exactly what is expected of me, a presentation, a meeting with an agenda, a defined role, I am fine. It's the open-ended situations that get me.
Like what?
Cocktail parties, networking events, any situation where you're supposed to just circulate and talk to people without a clear reason to approach anyone. I find those genuinely difficult. I never know how to start a conversation with a stranger when there's no obvious context.
Because in a meeting, there is a reason you are both there. In a party, the reason is just, we're both here, and someone thought we might get along.
Which is a much thinner premise for conversation. And for some people, that thinness is exciting. More freedom, more spontaneity. For me, it just feels like standing on uncertain ground.
For me, it is different. The situations that make me most nervous are the ones where I feel observed, not just present in a room, specifically watched.
Like presenting?
Presenting is actually fine, because presenting has a structure. You know what you are supposed to say, more or less. You have prepared. The discomfort is manageable.
So what kind of observation is the hard kind?
The informal kind. Being the new person at a team lunch. Walking into a room late when everyone is already seated and turns to look. Being asked a question in a group where I did not know a question was coming. Those moments where the attention lands on me without warning.
The unscheduled spotlight.
Exactly. And what happens physically is very fast. The heart goes, the face gets warm, and my brain starts doing this thing where it runs 2 programs at the same time. One is trying to answer the question, and the other one is watching me answer the question and critiquing in real time.
That second program is exhausting.
It is completely exhausting, and the criticism is never useful. It's just a commentary on everything that could go wrong while things are still going.
Let's talk about what social anxiety actually is, because I think a lot of people use the phrase casually without fully understanding the mechanism.
What is the mechanism?
At its core, social anxiety is the fear of negative evaluation by other people. Not the fear of people, the fear of what they will think of you. And crucially, the fear of what will happen if they think badly of you.
Which is often imagined as catastrophic.
Almost always. The brain runs a very quick and very unreliable risk calculation. Someone might judge me. If they judge me badly, I will be rejected. If I am rejected, something terrible will happen. And that calculation happens so fast that by the time you're aware of it, you are already anxious.
And the body responds as if the threat is real.
The body cannot tell the difference between a social threat and a physical one. Heart rate up, breathing faster, muscles tense. It's the same physiological response as if something genuinely dangerous were happening.
Which is why telling someone with social anxiety to just relax is so unhelpful.
Completely unhelpful, because the system that is responding is not the logical brain. It is much older and much faster than the logical brain. You cannot argue with it directly. You can only learn to work with it.
And what does working with it look like?
The first thing to understand is why avoidance makes social anxiety worse, because avoidance feels like the solution. If parties make you anxious, don't go to parties. If phone calls make you anxious, text instead. If group conversations make you anxious, anxious, stay quiet.
And each of those things provides immediate relief.
Immediate and real relief. The anxiety drops. You feel better. And that relief teaches your brain something very specific.
That avoiding was the right move.
Exactly. The brain records, I was anxious, I avoided, I felt better. Do that again next time. And so the avoidance grows. The situations that trigger anxiety grow, and gradually the safe zone shrinks.
So every time you avoid something that makes you anxious, you are making it slightly more powerful.
Slightly more powerful and slightly more fixed. The brain starts to believe that the avoided thing is genuinely dangerous, not just uncomfortable, dangerous. And that belief gets stronger every time you confirm it by leaving.
Which means the only way to weaken it is to stay.
To stay and to let the anxiety peak and then fall. Because it always falls. The body cannot maintain that level of activation indefinitely. If you stay in the room long enough, the heart slows, the warmth fades, the brain gets new information. The thing was uncomfortable, not catastrophic.
And you survived it.
And you survived it. And that is the information the brain needs. Not reassurance before, evidence after.
So what do you actually do in the moment? When you're standing at the door of the party and the heart is already going, what helps?
The first thing is to name what is happening. Not to fight it, not to tell yourself to calm down, just to say, I am feeling anxious right now. My body is responding as if this is threatening. That is what this is.
Because naming creates distance.
It creates a small but real distance. You are observing the anxiety rather than being completely inside it. And from that small distance, you have slightly more choice about what to do next.
What is the second thing?
Shift the focus outward. One of the things that makes social anxiety worse is the inward focus. You are monitoring yourself, watching yourself, critiquing yourself in real time. And the antidote is to genuinely focus on the other person.
Get curious about them instead of self-conscious about you.
Exactly. Ask a real question and actually listen to the answer. Not to prepare your next sentence, to actually hear what they say. When your attention is on them, there is less bandwidth for the self-monitoring. And usually the anxiety drops.
Because you cannot fully do both at the same time.
Not at full intensity. You have to choose where your attention goes. And choosing outward almost always helps.
The third thing?
Do not wait to feel ready. This is the most important one and the hardest one. Social anxiety tends to generate a very convincing argument for waiting. Wait until you feel more confident. Wait until you know more people. Wait until the situation feels safer. And that waiting is a very comfortable version of avoidance.
Because the feeling of readiness never arrives on its own.
It does not. Confidence in social situations comes from doing social situations, not from preparing to do them. The action comes first. The feeling follows. Almost always in that order, and almost never in reverse.
Go first. Feel better after.
Go first. Feel better after. That is the whole sequence. Time for the word tour. 6 words from today's conversation.
Definition, natural example, mini dialogue, and an upgrade phrase for each one.
Word 1. Anxiety. A-N-X-I-E-T-Y. Noun.
Anxiety is a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, usually about something uncertain or with an unknown outcome. It is different from fear, which has a specific object. Anxiety is more diffuse, a general sense that something could go wrong.
Example. The anxiety she felt before social events was not about any one thing. It was a general background hum of dread that started hours before she even left the house.
Mini dialogue. How are you feeling about tonight?
Anxious, honestly. I know it will probably be fine, but the anxiety does not care about probably.
That is one of the most accurate descriptions of anxiety I have heard.
It does not respond to logic. That is what makes it so frustrating.
Upgrade phrase. Instead of saying, I am nervous, try, I'm feeling quite a lot of anxiety about this. I know it is not proportionate to the actual risk, but the feeling is real regardless.
Word 2, trigger. T-R-I-G-G-E-R. Noun and verb.
A trigger is something that causes a reaction. In this context, something that activates anxiety. It can be a situation, a person, a sound, a memory. When something triggers anxiety, it sets off the response automatically, often before conscious thought.
Example. For him, the trigger was not the event itself, it was the drive there.
By the time he arrived, he'd already been anxious for 40 minutes.
Mini dialogue. Do you know what specifically makes networking events so hard for you?
The moment of entering a room where people are already in conversations, that is the trigger. Everything before and after is manageable. That specific moment is not.
So the threshold is the hard part.
Completely. If I can get past the door, I'm usually fine within 10 minutes.
Upgrade phrase. Instead of saying it makes me anxious, try that situation is a consistent trigger for me. I have noticed the pattern. It is always that specific moment, not the whole event.
Word 3, avoidance. Avoidance. Noun.
Avoidance is the act of staying away from situations, people, or feelings that cause discomfort. In the context of anxiety, avoidance provides short-term relief but reinforces the anxiety over time because the brain never gets the evidence that the feared thing is survivable.
Example, her avoidance of group dinners had started with one bad experience and grown over 2 years into a refusal to eat anywhere with more than 4 people.
Mini dialogue. You've canceled 3 times now. What is actually going on?
Avoidance. I know that's what it is. The thought of going feels manageable, and then the day arrives and I find a reason not to.
And does the reason feel real when it happens?
Completely real. That's what makes avoidance so convincing.
Upgrade phrase. Instead of saying, I just did not feel like going, try, I think I'm in a pattern of avoidance with this. Every time I cancel, the next invitation feels harder to accept.
Word 4, self-conscious. self-conscious. Adjective.
To be self-conscious means to be uncomfortably aware of yourself, of how you look, how you sound, how you are being perceived. It is the experience of watching yourself from the outside while you are still on the inside.
Example, he was so self-conscious during the presentation that he could barely remember what he had said by the time it was over. All his attention had been on how he was coming across.
Mini dialogue. How did the dinner go?
I was so self-conscious for the first hour that I could not eat properly. I kept thinking about how I was sitting, what I was saying, whether I was talking too much or not enough.
And the second hour?
I got tired of monitoring myself and just started talking. And it was fine.
Upgrade phrase. Instead of saying I felt awkward, try I was very self-conscious throughout, which made it hard to actually be present. I was spending so much energy on self-monitoring that I had very little left for the actual conversation.
Word 5, reassurance. reassurance. Noun.
Reassurance is comfort or certainty offered to reduce worry. When someone reassures you, they're trying to help you feel safer. In the context of anxiety, seeking reassurance feels helpful, but can become its own form of avoidance because it delays the moment of actually testing the fear.
Example, she needed reassurance before every social event, calling a friend to hear that everything would be fine. And while it helped in the moment, it never reduced the anxiety for next time.
Mini dialogue. Do you think I should go?
I think you already know the answer. You are looking for reassurance, not advice.
You are right. I want someone to tell me it will be fine, so I can stop worrying about it.
And if I tell you that, will you actually stop worrying?
No, probably not. Upgrade phrase. Instead of saying, I need someone to tell me it will be okay, try, I notice I'm seeking reassurance again. I know from experience that it does not actually reduce the anxiety. It just postpones it.
Last word, word 6, exposure. exposure. Noun.
In psychology, exposure refers to the practice of deliberately facing feared situations in order to reduce the anxiety response over time. It is the opposite of avoidance, and it is one of the most well-researched approaches to treating anxiety.
Gradually increasing his exposure to group situations, starting with small dinners, then larger gatherings, helped him build real evidence that the feared outcome rarely happened.
Mini dialogue. Why do you keep going to these events if they make you so anxious?
Because avoiding them makes it worse. Every time I go and survive it, even if it's uncomfortable, the anxiety loses a little ground. That is the exposure doing its work.
So the discomfort is actually the point.
The discomfort is the medicine, not the problem.
Upgrade phrase. Instead of saying I forced myself to go, try I am working on gradual exposure to these situations. It is uncomfortable every time, but each time I go and come back okay, the fear loses a little of its hold.
That is the word tour for today. Anxiety, trigger, avoidance, self-conscious, reassurance, exposure.
6 words that give you real language for something very real.
Let's close. We talked about what social anxiety actually is, the fear of negative evaluation, and how the body responds to social threat the same way it responds to physical danger. danger.
We looked at why avoidance feels like the solution, but makes everything worse, and why the only way to reduce anxiety is to give the brain new evidence, not reassurance before, but experience after.
And we covered 3 things that help in the moment. Naming what is happening, shifting focus outward to genuine curiosity about the other person, and not waiting to feel ready, because readiness comes after, not before.
The question of the week: what is one social situation that makes you nervous? Tell us in the comments. One sentence in English. You are not alone in this. We promise.
If this episode helped your English today, if you followed along, if you learned something, if you spent 12 minutes thinking in English, that is real progress.
Please subscribe on YouTube, give this episode a like, and share it with someone who always cancels plans at the last minute.
We will see you in the next episode. I am Claire.
I am Ethan. Next time the heart starts racing before you open the door, name it. Look outward and go in anyway. The anxiety will follow, and then it will fall.
Real English Lounge. See you next time.
Your English journey doesn't end here.
Keep listening, keep learning, and keep speaking.
Choose your next conversation.
We'll see you in the next episode of Real English Lounge.